Good morning, everyone. My name is John Izzo. I am a hearing examiner for the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. Well, the records show that this hearing was called to order at 10:08 a.m. on the 27th of February 2020 in room 2095, located at 30 East Broad Street, 4th floor, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. This proceeding is a hearing being conducted pursuant to Chapter 119 and Chapter 5119 of the Ohio Revised Code. Faith Temple Community Outreach Homes has 3 cases pending today for license number 03-7661, 03-7792, and 06-7794. Pursuant to the Administrative Procedures Act, Section 11907 of the Revised Code, a person affected by the proposed action of the Department may appear and be heard in person by their attorney or such other representative as is permitted to practice before the agency, or both, may present their position, arguments, or contentions orally or in writing, offer and examine witnesses, and present evidence. As the presiding officer, I will rule on the admissibility of evidence and other procedural matters. Any objections to such ruling shall be made in a timely manner by the person affected. Any evidence not admitted into the record shall be proffered by the party who offered the evidence. The proffered evidence shall be made a part of the record of the proceeding. A record of this proceeding is being made at the expense of the Department. Witnesses will be sworn. Witnesses may be accompanied by an attorney whose participation is limited to the protection of the rights of the witness. Any person having a prepared statement they wish to read into the record should furnish a copy of the statement to the hearing examiner. Pursuant to Section 11909 of the Revised Code, I will submit to the Department a written report setting forth my findings of fact, conclusions of law, and a recommendation of the action to be taken. A copy of such report and recommendation will, within 5 days of the date of filing, be served upon the party or attorney or other representative of record by certified mail. The party may, within 10 days of receipt of such report and recommendation, file with the Department written objections to the report and recommendation, which objections shall be considered before approving, modifying, or disapproving the report and recommendation. The Department may grant the party an extension of time within which to file such objections. And then at this time, I get starting with my left, I'd like everyone to go ahead and enter their parents and identify themselves.
Thank you. Mr. Rizzo, my name is Mark Lavelle. I am counsel for Alfredo.
You don't have to sit, Mr. Lavelle.
That's fine, right? I'm sorry.
To be less formal here.
Thank you. Anyway, Alfredo Atkins sits at my right.
Thank you.
Valerie Talma, Assistant Attorney General with the Office of the Ohio Attorney General, and Donna Sabo from the Mental Health and Addiction Services.
Thank you. Are there any preliminary matters we need to attend to?
Not for us.
Ms. Jim? Okay. I guess is the state ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, please. Try to keep my voice up. Thank you. Good morning. I, Valerie Talma, Assistant Attorney General for the State of Ohio, represent the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, or MHAS, in this matter. We are here today to discuss MHAS's proposed revocation of 3 certifications for Faith Temple Community Outreach Homes, residential care facility license numbers 03-7661, 06-7792, and 06-7794. Faith Temple is an agency run by Alfredo Atkins, located in Youngstown, Ohio, and its residential homes are certified as a Class 2 facility. The agency currently operates one of the 3 homes with around 5 individuals that's still serving. As an agency certified by MHAS, Faith Temple is required to comply with rules established by the Ohio Revised and Administrative Codes. The testimony and documents I will present during the course of this hearing will show that Faith Temple has been in serious noncompliance with the laws and rules pursuant to Ohio Administrative Code 5122-30-05. During the forecast survey on April 10, 2019, there were several substantiated findings of noncompliance at all 3 facility locations. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5119.34 F2, the Department can revoke or deny a residential care facility license if it finds any of the following. And these include 1, the non-compliance with the rules adopted by the Director, or any facility operated by the applicant or licensee has been cited for a pattern of serious noncompliance or repeated violations of statutes or rules during the period of current or previous licenses. You will hear testimony from 2 witnesses that will support the department's position. First, Donna Sabo, Manager of Training and Product Development at MHAS, will explain the compliance review and sanctions process and how the allegations in the notice letters justify revocation of Faith Temple's licenses. Next, Sarah Malik, MHAS Surveyor, will testify as to her forecast survey reviews of Faith Temple on April 10th, 2019, and why she substantiated findings at each location due to the conditions found. She will also explain her history of conducting surveys with MHAS. By the conclusion of my argument today, I will have shown by preponderance of the evidence that Faith Temple certifications should be revoked, and I will request that you recommend such action to the department's director. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Liddell, did you want to make an opening statement now, or wait till your case in chief?
I prefer to wait, but I do have a question. When you had called the case, you two have indicated different certification number or license numbers, especially I think for the 3520. Mr. Rizzo, I thought you said it was an 03, and Ms. Jim, I think you said 06. So I guess just so the record's clear as far as you picking which one.
And it is my error. The notice that was issued is 06-7792.
Okay, thank you. And at that point, then I have nothing to say until I'll listen to the state's case.
Okay. You may call your first witness, Ms. Chairman.
Hold on, Lucia.
I need to go up here. Yep, ready. Okay. I'll try to look at you when I speak. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. I do.
Donna?
Good morning.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Donna M. Sabo, S like Sam, A, B like boy, O.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm work with the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
What is the department, or the bureau that you're a part of?
I'm a manager of training and product development and a supervisor in the Bureau of Licensure and Certification.
What is the Bureau of Licensure and Certification?
We are responsible for the regulatory oversight of providers who provide behavioral health services in Ohio, which means mental health and addiction services to children and adults.
And how long have you been in this position?
I've been in my current position since April 1st of 2018. Prior to that, I was a behavioral health surveyor with the department from July of 2015. Prior to that, I spent 26 years with the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services in regulation of child welfare agencies and adult care facilities.
What are some of your job duties as supervisor?
I'm responsible for the management and oversight of 5 behavioral health surveyors. I provide technical assistance to them, training both in the office and on-site on the regulations, rules, and procedures, and provide training and technical assistance to providers.
Do you often accompany surveyors on the surveys?
Yes, as part of the initial training process for new surveyors, I accompany them on site, and then we are required to go out periodically with surveyors to observe and assist in on-site surveys.
And what kind of training do surveyors receive?
When they're hired, they receive training on the specific rule requirements that they're being asked to monitor. That training is in-person training here in the department. They also go out and shadow current behavioral health surveyors in the field and observe the licensure and certification process. They participate in the surveys by reviewing records, assisting in the on-site review, and going over the findings with the providers.
And do you supervise a woman named Sarah Miller?
Yes.
What is your educational background?
I have a master's degree in education and supervision and administration, and I have a bachelor's degree in individual and family studies with an emphasis in early childhood education and human development.
Are you involved in decisions to revoke or deny licenses?
Yes.
And how are you involved?
The surveyor comes to me, my assigned surveyor will come to me and we review the findings of noncompliance and what was found during the survey. We have a discussion, then we make a recommendation to my immediate supervisor, which is the section chief, for a licensing action. And that can be to require a plan of correction or to make a recommendation to deny an application for licensure or revoke a current license.
Could you describe a little bit what the types of surveys are?
Yes, we're responsible for the regulatory oversight for behavioral health agencies in Ohio, like I said. We certify residential facilities, and that includes the Class 2 facility, which is what Faith Temple is currently licensed to do. And that provides care, supervision, and accommodations to any one of the following: one or more people with a mental illness, one or more people that are receiving a state supplement called RSS, meaning they're getting a state supplement to help pay for their care, or if there's 3 to 16 unrelated adults living in the facility or homes.
And how many adults at the current time, if you know, the state temple have in their homes?
The last time that we were, that we did a review, there were, I believe, 5 at the one facility. I'm not sure how many there are currently.
What's the process for a normal survey?
The surveyor goes out to the facility, does an on-site visit, meaning walking through the physical plant, looking at cleanliness, food, the overall safety of the facility, the beds, the kitchen area, looking for any site safety issues that might need to be addressed. We have rule requirements that the surveyors have tools that they are required to fill out to make sure that they assess each of the areas in the Ohio Administrative Code to make sure that the facility is operating in compliance with the rule requirements to have a license. We also do client record reviews. We're looking for specific documentation in those records as required by Ohio Administrative Code. We also look at staff files. We're looking for training and background checks based on what the requirements are in the Administrative Code for that particular type of facility.
And what is the process for a special type of survey?
We have different types of surveys. We have a regular renewal survey. Class 2 facilities are licensed for a 2-year period. So they're required to submit an application prior to the expiration of their license to request to renew the certificate. That's an announced visit where we go out and do the process that I just talked about. We also do something called a for-cause survey. That is when the department has become aware of something that requires us to go out and do a visit or an investigation.
Are for-cause surveys more limited?
They are. The for-cause survey is based on what the problem is. For example, if we get a for-cause survey because there's a concern that there's no heat and inadequate food, we would go out and we would focus on those 2 compliance areas. We would not do the same scope as we would for a regular renewal visit because we're focusing only on the problem areas. However, if we see things that are outside of those problem areas, we would then do an investigation of that as well. So for example, if the complaint was no food or no heat, and we go out there and we can't locate staff are not responding to us, then we would address that additional area as well.
Are you familiar with MHAS provider Faith Temple Community Outreach Homes?
Yes, I am.
How are you familiar with them?
They are assigned to one of my surveyors, Sarah Malik.
And you mentioned they're a Class 2 facility.
Yes.
Were they categorized as something else prior to this?
They were called an adult care facility. We had rule changes effective January 1st of 2018 that reclassified some of the names of the facilities. So they were previously called adult care facilities or adult group homes. They became known as a Class 2 facility. It was a change in name through statutory change.
And do you know when that change happened?
January 1st of 2018.
Let's turn to Exhibit 8. You recognize this?
Yes.
What is this?
This is a notice of proposed revocation and denial of the renewal application for Faith Temple Community Outreach Home, license number 03-7661.
And what is the basis of this proposal to revoke?
The basis of this is that the department conducted a for-cause survey on April 10th of 2019. The department received information that the owner provider, Ms. Atkins, was reportedly arrested or charged with child abuse or child endangering. As a result of that, our former bureau chief, Janelle Pecano, directed that we conduct a for-cause survey at the facilities.
And as far as the findings in this letter, where are these findings coming from?
These findings are the result of that survey conducted on April 10th of 2019 by Ms. Sarah Mallett.
Do you know if this letter was delivered?
This letter was delivered as evidenced by a certified mail receipt signed by Ms. Atkins.
Let's turn to Exhibit 9. You can identify this, please.
This is a proposed revocation and denial of renewal application for Faith Temple Community Outreach Homes 3, license number 067792.
And is this the same basis for the proposal to revoke?
Yes, that is correct. These findings were based on the for-cause survey conducted on April 10th, 2019 by Ms. Mallett.
Was this letter delivered to Ms. Atkins?
Yes, this letter was delivered as evidenced by a certified mail receipt signed by Ms. Atkins.
And Exhibit 10. What is this?
This is a proposed revocation and denial of renewal application for Faith Temple Community Outreach, license number 06-7794.
And is this the same basis of the proposal to revoke?
Yes, the action arises from the for-cause survey conducted on April 10th, 2019 by Ms. Mallett.
And was this letter delivered?
Yes, as evidenced by a return, a certified mail receipt signed by Ms. Atkins.
And do you recall if Ms. Atkins requested a hearing?
I'm sorry.
Did Ms. Atkins request a hearing?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Do you know if it was via phone or?
I do not. I was notified of the request through our legal counsel, Howard Henry.
Let's turn to Exhibit 11. What is this?
This is an acknowledgement of the hearing request from Ms. Atkins from our legal counsel, Howard Henry.
And page 2 and 3, are these just for the other licenses?
Yes, this is the same for all three proposed orders.
Were these delivered to Ms. Atkins?
Yes, they're as evidenced by a certified mail receipt signed by Ms. Atkins.
Let's turn to Exhibit 12. What is this?
This is the scheduling notice for the hearings.
And is this for just one license?
Yes, this is for license number 037661.
Let's turn to Exhibit 13. What is this?
This is the scheduling notice for license number 067792.
And Exhibit 14.
And this is the scheduling notice for license number 067794.
And is the scheduling order, does it state the date of the hearing?
Yes, the hearing is scheduled for Thursday, February 27th and Friday, February 28th, 2020 at 10 a.m.
And lastly, you turn to Exhibit 15. If you could identify this, please.
This is documentation of the denial of an oral request for a continuance of this hearing.
Okay. And does it show if it was sent to Faith Temple's counsel?
It does. Excuse me. Yes, it shows that it was sent to Mr. Faith Temple.
Lavelle.
Lavelle, I'm so sorry.
It's quite all right.
Ms. Lavelle, Mr. Lavelle. Yes.
After reviewing all of the evidence in this case, do you believe that Faith Temple's licenses should be revoked?
Yes,
Why do you say that?
because the site and safety issues for regarding the care and supervision of the residents in the facility, and there are also concerns about the physical plant, the maintenance, and cleanliness of the facility.
I have no other questions.
Ms. Lavelle, you
Thank you. Yes, I do. Ma'am, as I understand it, and you and I have never met, correct?
Correct.
Okay. As I understand your testimony, you essentially are the supervisor of 5 individuals who work for your department, who go out in the field and conduct what you call surveys.
Correct.
Surveys are essentially an investigation into what's going on. How's it going here?
A survey is an assessment of compliance with applicable Ohio Advised Code rules to determine whether or not the particular facility should be licensed or certified by the department.
So is there a particular format for a survey? Do they give you, does the administrative code give you direction on what you're looking for specifically?
No, we have the list of rules. The rules are what we are required to assess compliance with. So the department has developed tools, survey tools, that include those rules, and the surveyors take out this tool and complete the tool while they're on site.
Are the rules yours? Are they mental health, or are they OAC?
They're Ohio Administrative Code.
Okay. So the rule, the administrative code does give you direction on what to look for.
That's correct.
Okay.
I misunderstood. I thought you asked me if they did the tools, and they do not. They give us the rules to assess.
So with the rules that the OAC provides, your agency provides the tools, is that what you're describing?
Correct.
You then train and supervise people to go out and implement that.
That is correct.
And in this case, you supervised and trained presumably at least 5 different people. And part of your, I guess, district would be the Youngstown area where Alfreda had her homes.
Our surveyors are assigned specific cases throughout the state. We're not really assigned on geographic
Okay,
location.
so for whatever,
She is assigned to one of my people, Sarah.
so she's assigned to one of your people, then it goes to you, and then you have a supervisor over you.
That is correct.
So at some point then back in, well, strike that, prior to April 10th, when the survey was completed, you called it a for-cause survey,
Yes,
meaning somebody alerted your department that there may be a problem.
that is correct.
Other surveys include a standard every 2-year survey.
That is correct.
All right, so prior to April 10th of last year, when was the regular survey accomplished on any group home from Alfreda Atkins?
I do not have that information with me.
Prior to April 10th, when there was a for-cause survey, are you aware of any issues that presented as a result of any survey?
There were findings of non-compliance issued. I'm not aware of them. I don't have the detail on that today.
And as far as the April 10th, there were actually 3 surveys, right? Because there were 3 different licenses.
That is correct. There are 3 facilities.
And the same, I guess, worker, the same person from your agency conducted all 3?
Yes, Ms. Matlick.
And does she do this on her own, or does she have staff or somebody that assists her?
We go either out, we can go out alone, or we can go out with another surveyor.
And in this case, do you know, you didn't go, right?
I was not present
Okay.
at the facility.
Do you know whether or not she went alone or whether she had other individuals with her?
She had other individuals with her.
And ma'am, you indicated that the cause associated with this was that Alfreda was arrested for, I think you said child abuse or child endangerment.
The department received notice that yes, that the owner had been arrested and or charged. And so we went out to find out whether that was true and what had happened.
Okay. And do you know where that call came from or
I
who
do not.
contacts the agency?
I do not.
I need one person.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, I just wait till this question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I do not.
And if I go too fast, just
Yeah.
give me the sign.
Thank you, thank you. Absolutely.
I've had court reporters throughout the state throw stuff at me. So, as I understand the mechanics, your agency gets a call, whether it's from whomever, for whatever reason, hey, this woman's been arrested, and we think these are the charges. Somebody in your agency, and I think you said it was your supervisor, decided that that call was sufficient to warrant a for-cause survey.
That is correct.
Is there direction in the administrative code or in your protocols indicating what warrants a for-cause survey?
We have procedures that talk, if there's an allegation of noncompliance or a site and safety issue, that is a reason for us to go out and do a visit.
Right, but this wasn't one of those, right? It was neither of those. It was an allegation against Alfred Atkins for criminal behavior non-related to the operation of these group homes.
As the owner operator of the facility, criminal behavior alleged, reported criminal behavior is a possible violation of the Ohio Administrative Code.
Okay.
So that would be the reason.
And pardon me, what do you call the woman who did the survey?
Sarah Malik,
Does she have a title?
Behavioral Health Standards Surveyor.
Thank you. Did she do any investigation into the criminal allegation against Alfred Atkins?
You would have to, she did, but I do not know the
Okay.
details of that.
So as a result of that notification to your agency, at this point in time, back in April 10th, Alfred Atkins had 3 separate licenses to operate 3 separate facilities. Is that right?
Correct.
This is a surprise survey. Your worker shows up unannounced.
That is correct.
And mechanically then, she goes to the facility and she's armed with the tools that you described and she conducts her survey.
That's correct.
And as a result, presumably she files a report or prepares a report that then goes to you.
That is correct.
You take that information, compare it with the rules and regulations of the Ohio Administrative Code, presumably have some sort of a conference or a powwow with your supervisor, and decide what the remedy should be.
That is correct.
And the possible remedies associated that you described are a revocation of the license, right, which is essentially a death penalty. We agree?
Revocation is one option, yes.
A denial of a renewal,
Correct.
and there are also, I guess, less severe remedies, which would include the opportunity to cure any issues.
It would be called a plan of correction.
Thank you.
We would issue a findings letter, findings document, and the provider would be given an opportunity to submit a plan of correction to the department.
So who decides among the remedies that are available once you find that there's some sort of non-compliance?
There is a meeting held with the bureau chief, or section chief, excuse me, it was Janelle Pecanel at the time. And then we also meet with our legal counsel, Howard Henry, and the matter is discussed, and then direction is given from our legal department and our section chief. And once it's referred to our legal department, then they issue what we have before us today, the proposed adjudication order to revoke or deny the license.
So does it require some sort of a vote or a consensus among that group, or does somebody have ultimate discretion?
You would have to ask Mr. Howard Henry or the section chief then.
Does the administrative code direct your agency in what a remedy should be, or does the agency have discretion?
The agency has discretion. In the rules, there's a set of requirements that based on the findings, we have options. We can require a plan of correction. We can make a recommendation to revoke or deny the license.
And I appreciate that fact. I'm just trying to make a determination as to what criteria is utilized within the agency to make that determination.
The Ohio Administrative Code, I believe it's, do you have the rules? Yes? Before I speak. We have a specific rule that outlines the criteria.
Ms. Willowville, did you get a copy of these documents that she, hold on a second.
Oh, I'm
Did you get a copy of these documents she's looking at?
I did, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it should be in your packet.
Yes, ma'am.
5122-30-05, issuance and conditions of licensure. So it talks about, the different types of action
Okay,
we can
and fair enough, and
different types of regulatory action that we can take.
5122-30-05, it'll speak for itself.
Yes,
What I'm talking about specifically, and you've already kind of alluded to this, is the discretion within your department. There's some discretion in your department as to what the remedy should be when findings are made.
that is based on recommendations from our legal department and
Okay.
our section chief.
Now, in this regard, back in April, the license, which is 67794, apparently has to do with a group home or a potential group home on a street called, it's actually Hiawatha. It's listed as Hiawatha on the report, but it's Hiawatha.
Okay.
Are you aware whether or not that facility was operating at the time in April?
The facility was currently licensed at the time of the visit.
Okay. And does that necessarily mean, well, before it gets licensed, is there a survey done?
Yes.
Okay. So presumably then, prior to April, well, you already indicated, you don't know when the surveys were done prior to April.
I do not have that information.
In fact, at this point, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Is there any redirect?
Yes, there's a printed one, please.
Go ahead.
I have just one follow-up question. As far as the scope of your role, once you say you review your surveys, once they're done with the survey, and once that happens, how do you get involved after that? Do you approve it, or-
Yeah, I review the findings of noncompliance or the findings of technical assistance. I review the letter that they have written, including the findings document, and then I approve it, and it is sent to the provider. Or the recommendation at that point might be made for an enforcement action, and that would be referred to our section chief, who then would refer it over to our legal department.
So that's typically the scope of your
Yes.
role.
Yeah, yes.
And were you on the surveys in April with Sarah Mel?
No, I was not.
I have no further questions.
Any
Not for
redirect?
us, no, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
testimony. Does the state have any other witnesses?
I do. If I could call Sarah Mel, please.
Yes.
Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Hello, Sarah. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sarah Malik, it's M-A-L-I-K.
Are you currently employed?
I currently work for the Department of Behavioral Services,
And what's your job title?
Behavioral Health Standard Surveyor.
How long have you had this position?
I've worked in this position for 2 years. Prior to that, I worked as, with Recovery Services at Grafton Correctional as a correctional program coordinator.
And as a surveyor, what are some of your job duties?
Some of my job duties are to go out and perform surveys at residential facilities, certification surveys at mental health providers, substance use providers, and opioid treatment providers.
And what is involved in the survey? Can you describe the survey for us?
Typically, a standard survey, we would go out and monitor for compliance with the Ohio Administrative Code rules regarding whatever type of agency we're at. We would go through paperwork, site and safety, staffing requirements.
So it's basically a compliance review.
Yes.
When did you start conducting compliance reviews? Or surveys?
I started with the department on March 5th of 2018. We had a period of where we shadowed other surveyors, and then we went through a rigorous training. And then I would have started my own surveys probably July, August.
And what's your educational background?
I have a Bachelor in Science with focus in substance use counseling at the University of Cincinnati.
Are you familiar with MHAS provider in Faith Temple?
Yes.
How are you familiar with them?
I was her assigned surveyor for the renewal of one of her facilities and the initial application for another. And then I was also the surveyor that handled the forecast survey that worked here.
Do you know how long about you've interacted with this agency?
About a year and a half.
Do you recall who the CEO is?
Alfred Atkins.
And what kinds of services does Faith Temple provide?
Faith Temple is a Class 2 residential facility, so they provide housing and accommodations for individuals with mental illness that need personal care services.
And you said you participated in the forecast surveys. That was in April of 2019.
Yes.
Did you conduct these surveys alone?
No, I went out with 2 other behavioral health standard surveyors, Robert Huggins and Adrian Morris.
And do you recall what prompted this forecast survey?
We went out on this forecast survey. We were contacted by a former Bureau Chief, Gina Pegno, letting us know that there was that Ms. Atkins had been charged with child endangerment in regards to some foster children that she was taking care of, and that we were to go out to the facility to see what the staffing patterns were there, what residents were currently in the home, their contact information, and check all the PCIs and the staff people that were currently working there.
So you said that it was Janelle that told you about this, and she directed you to go out and look for those certain items?
Yes.
Okay. Let's turn to Exhibit 1. Do you recognize this?
This would be our findings letter.
And what's next, like, looking at page 230? Are these, what would you call this document?
What would I call this document? This is basically what we would put the rule and then what the finding was in regards to that rule. So
Is it a survey tool?
this is, it's a, yeah.
Did you create this document or fill this out?
Yes.
Okay. And was this sent to Faith Temple?
No.
Why would not?
This was sent to the legal department and then the letter was then sent for revocation based on this.
So exhibit 1, which license number is this for?
037661.
If we can walk through this document along with the notice letter, the notice letter for the same license number. So if you want to pull out on exhibit 8 the letter to make it a little bit easier. So looking at, oh, let me get there first, page 2 of exhibit 1. Could you walk through the 2 findings here?
The first finding involves the upstairs bedroom with the peeling paint on the ceiling and the flooring in one of the rooms. There had been missing a big piece of linoleum and the surface was uneven. The second finding involves ashtrays and cigarette butts observed in the upstairs bedrooms.
Looking at exhibit 8, are these findings in this letter?
Yes, it would be number 1.
Number 1, okay. And then what about number 2?
Yeah, and number 2.
Okay. Let's turn to page 3 of exhibit 1. What are these findings for?
These findings, each facility needs to create a welcoming and comfortable environment. When the environment isn't clean, that isn't very welcoming or comfortable. The second one is discussing exactly what was unclean. The floors were unclean, they needed to be swept. There were thick cobwebs along the ceiling. The resident bedrooms were cluttered and unclean. The basement living area had wrappers and other trash laying about, along with cigarette butts and ashes all over the floor. The upstairs floors were not in good repair, creating a trip hazard, which again is referencing that with
And the citations next to it on the left, are these in the notice letter? Exhibit 8?
Yes.
Number 4. Let's turn to page 3 of exhibit 1. You can walk through these findings.
These findings involve the facility owner not providing daily monitoring of her staff to make sure that acceptable performance of assigned job duties will be maintained. The second one involves not giving us complete information when we ask questions, specifically about who is working, who is living in the basement bedroom, and third one is the facility didn't have a roster of names for the residents that were currently living in the home when we asked for that information. And she was not maintaining a record of all the staff and residents at the facility.
So you didn't have any documentation as far as who the residents or staff schedule or anything?
Correct.
Okay.
It wasn't available during the survey.
And is it required that they be available at all times?
Yes.
So looking at exhibit 8. It's number 6. 7,
Correct, yes.
and 8.
Yes.
And looking at number 8, it says here about 3 staff. How did you know that there were 3 staff members?
When we asked who were staff members of the facility, that's who was reported to us as staff members.
But no documentation showing that. Looking at Exhibit 8, number 9, what is this finding for?
There's a no smoking policy posted on the wall in the dining room that infringes on client rights.
Is there evidence of this policy? Did you take a picture?
I did take a picture of this.
Let's turn to Exhibit 5. 6. Is this the picture you took?
Yes.
Why does this breach resident rights?
Because residents are adults, and they, are able to go out for some smoke breaks whenever they choose. This particular policy basically says that they're only allowed to smoke during certain time periods in certain areas.
And going back to Exhibit 8, number 10, what is this finding for?
This finding involves prescription medication that was not locked in the central locked area. This was actually medication that was left out in the open in a resident bedroom.
Do you have any evidence of this?
Yes, there's a picture of this as well.
Let's turn to Exhibit 5, page 9. What is this?
This is a picture of the pill minder with medication in it, and then the package of bottles of pills that were sitting on top of the dresser in that resident's bedroom.
And why is this an issue?
Medication has to be stored locked. Even if they're able to self-administer, they have to have their own personal lockbox because anyone could walk into that room and take that resident's medication. So it becomes a safety issue.
Let's turn to the next page, page 10 of Exhibit 5.
And this is just another picture of the medication and the packaging.
What about the next page, page 1?
And these are 2 separate bottles that were sitting off to the side of the other medication.
And you said these were in the bedroom?
This is in a bedroom. This is actually a resident's dresser.
Let's go through the other pictures in this exhibit real quick. So the next 2 pages, 12 and 13. What are these pictures for?
This is a bedroom that was located in the basement. That we had asked, was there anyone living in this bedroom? Because it appeared that someone may have been living there. Ms. Atkins reported no one was, but there's an awful lot of personal items located in this bedroom.
And is it not allowed to have someone live in the basement?
No, unless she has permission by the fire department to have someone residing in the basement. Bedrooms are not permitted to be in the basement.
What does page 13 show?
This is also that same bedroom and just more of the personal effects in the bed located in that room.
And turning to page 14.
This is the peeling paint in the ceiling that we referenced earlier.
Sorry to go on over here. To go to page 2. What does this show?
This is a curtain that is separating two bedrooms, which would be considered a tandem room.
And why is that an issue?
As of the rules of January 1st, 2018, residents, you can't have a bedroom, you can't access a bedroom through another bedroom, which makes, as such as a tandem room.
What about page 3?
This is that missing piece of linoleum walking into the bedroom common area and upstairs.
You mentioned hazard.
Yeah, it was rolled up on the edges, like you could catch your shoe on that entrance as you walk through the doorway.
What about page 4?
This is the basement common area. There's a couch right next to this. This is the ashes and the wrappers and the cigarette butts all over the floor in the basement.
What does page 5 say?
There's a hole in a resident bedroom wall.
And looking at your findings, do you recall what citation you used for that? For the whole wall?
That would be under 1 on the letter.
Finding 1. Okay. And page 7.
This is the bathroom. It shows that the toilet, the floor, and the bathtub were all very dirty.
I think on exhibit 8, page 1, finding number 3, you said the bathroom smelled good.
Yes, it did.
Turning to page 8 of exhibit 5, what does this picture show?
This is the bathtub in that same bathroom. It kind of shows the soap scum and the dirt and the grime in the bathtub.
Let's turn to exhibit 4. What is this document?
This is a document that I created of the resident names and their contact information, their emergency contact, based on interviews with both residents and Ms. Atkins while we were out at the survey to gather that information.
And is it typical that you would create this yourself?
No. Typically, I would be able to get this from the provider. This would have been part of their files.
And on this page, is this the residence for just one location or multiple?
This is multiple, this is all 3 of the homes.
Do you know which numbers are for which locations?
The 1 through 6 reference the location we were just discussing, 037661, and then 7 through 10 would be the other residential facility.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch any of that. What was the last thing you said?
I said I didn't know the number of the other residential
Okay.
facility off the top of my head.
I beg your pardon.
Why is it important to keep a roster of your residents?
You need to have the information of who is currently living in the home when they arrive there, when they leave. So that way if there's ever a need to access that information quickly, you have it.
You can put the exhibit 8 back where it was, and we'll pull out exhibit 10. Can you turn to exhibit 2 in the book, please? What is this document?
This is the letter for denial of renewal, revocation and denial for license number 0677.
Is that showing the findings that's in exhibit 2?
Yes, that's correct.
So let's walk through these findings. Looking at page 2 of exhibit 2, what were your findings here?
The first one involves not being able to reach the provider to allow us access to the facility. Me and Ms. Morris arrived at these two homes that are actually kind of a duplex, so they're sitting next to each other. I was to go to one, she was to go to the other, and we were not able to access one of the homes at all. In the other home, a resident actually allowed us access because we had called several times and she did not answer our phone.
So when you were at this location doing your survey, Ms. Atkins wasn't present?
No.
And what's in your second finding?
Second finding involves the ceiling on the third floor bedroom. There was water damage where you could see the leak in the ceiling was stained with water damage and actually had started deteriorating.
Looking at the notes under exhibit 10, are these findings in order?
Yes. That would be 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Let's go to exhibit 2, page 3. You could go through these.
The first finding involves a full ashtray sitting in the middle of the bedroom floor. The whole room smelled of cigarette smoke. The second one, in bedroom 1, the mattress was actually sitting on the floor. There was no frame underneath of it. And the third floor bedroom, the mattress was stained with bed bug excrement and other items. And then the third finding on this page is the facility was not clean.
Looking at exhibit 10, which numbers are these findings showing? Or how do they match up?
Finding 3 involves the cigarette butts in the ashtray. 5 would be the mattress.
Let's actually turn to exhibit 6 real quick. Did you also take the pictures in exhibit 6?
Yes.
Okay. Let's turn to page 4. What does this show?
This is the mattress that's sitting on the floor and then the dirty floors of that bedroom.
Then turning to page 5.
This is showing bed bugs on the mattress.
And you said bed bugs were like black
Yes.
things on them. Okay. What about page 6?
Page 6 shows the soiled mattress in the third floor bedroom.
And page 7, what does it show?
That is the ashtray sitting in the middle of the bedroom.
Let's turn back to exhibit 2. Page 4. You can run through these findings, please.
The first one involves the facility being free of offensive and unpleasant odors. The whole facility smelled of tobacco and soiled linen. And the second one involves live bed bugs that were observed in the bedrooms. The third one is in the kitchen, the drawer fronts were missing from 2 of the kitchen drawers. The front door had rust stains, and the walls in the common area had missing paint spots. And then the last one involves the bathroom being unclean. toilet bowl had a ring in it, there was urine on the floor.
Looking at exhibit 10, number 4, is this finding one that you just mentioned?
Yes,
Which,
this involves the drawer front specifically.
what other numbers in this notice letter did you just go over?
Number 7 were the live bite methods, and number 8 were the rest of the.
Let's go back to exhibit 6. Page 2.
This is the front door with the restrooms.
And what does page 3 show?
Page 3 is actually the ceiling of the 3rd floor bedroom with the water damage.
Let's go back to exhibit 2, page 5. What were the findings here?
The first one involves a staff member not being present at the time of the visit. The residents were not able to give a staff schedule. They told me that the staff for that home was Jonathan Atkins. But when I finally met up with the owner at the other facility where she was at, she told me he no longer worked for her and hadn't been for several weeks prior to that. The residents didn't give me any other person who would have been working at that facility during that time. And then the last finding is the facility was unclean and staff were not available.
And are these in the notice letter, exhibit 10?
Yeah.
Which numbers?
Number 11.
What about number 12?
Yeah, I was gonna say number 12 as well.
Let's go to page 6 of exhibit 2. If you could go through these.
The first one involves the staff schedule. We were not able to discern what the schedule of staffing actually was at the facility based on interviews with the residents and Ms. Atkins. The second one involves the roster not being available. Need for us to gather the information from the residents themselves. Third one is actually not having immediately accessible written emergency information for each resident, which is a requirement. If that had been available, we would have been able to get the information we needed at the time of our visit. And then resident records were not stored at the facility. Is the last one.
And looking at the notice letter, exhibit 10, where do you see these?
Number 13, 14, 15, and 16.
And lastly, page 7 of exhibit 2. What were these findings for?
These findings were the staff files were also not located at the facility, and that the facility was not maintaining a record for each of the current residents and staff for 3 years post-discharge.
Why is that important? 3 years.
Because we still need to be able to see records of residents that had been there prior to when we come out, as well as staff information. That information has to be available to us.
I'm looking at exhibit 10, page 3. Is number 17.
Yes.
Facing the room. Okay. I think I missed 2 here, so let's go back to exhibit 10, page 2. Number 9. What is that finding for?
That involves the overhead fixture in bedroom number 2. It was missing its globe or cover, and the curtain rod was missing, and the curtain was actually hanging down next to it
Let's turn to exhibit 6, page 1. Is this picture?
Yes.
Then number 10, I believe you mentioned most of these issues in exhibit 10. Were these mostly in your findings as well?
Yes.
What about the kitchen? I don't think you mentioned that.
The kitchen, it needed to be swept, the counters weren't.
Let's turn to exhibit 3. What is this document?
This document is a staff qualification background tool that we use when we're out on a survey to gather this information that's required in files for staff members.
And who filled this out?
Robert Huggins.
Is this typically something you would already have filled out when you got there, or does a surveyor usually fill it out?
The surveyor fills this out. This is a tool that we use.
What are the circles for?
Circles or when we do not find the information in the file, so that way it indicates that that information is not there.
Why was the focus of the survey on background checks?
The focus of the survey was on background checks because we wanted to ensure that individuals working in the home were qualified to be there, the residents would be safe. The allegation was serious enough. We wanted to make sure that there was qualified staff in the home.
And the other pages of exhibit 32 through 4, what are these for?
This is more information that would be required in the staff file. The second page involves the database checks that are completed for each staff member, showing whether they're on one of the registries, prohibiting them from being able to work at home. And then page 3 involves like trainings that they would have to have as staff members for, we really weren't looking for that information at this particular survey.
Okay, so the circles are what you were looking for,
Yes.
and it wasn't available,
Correct.
and then everything else going, you weren't actually looking for on the survey.
Correct.
Let's turn to exhibit 7. Do you recognize this?
This is an email between me and Mel Eckno. The day after the forecast survey was conducted, she had asked for a quick summary of what we had found while we had gone out that time.
Could you go through a little bit of what you summarized and what you thought was important to tell,
I let her know who went to each home, what staff members were at the homes and where they were working, how many residents were currently living there, what type of residents they were, like, what was their funding source. That she had veterans in one home, whether they received RSS or they were private pay. I let her know of the main concerns, like the medication out on the dresser in the bedroom, possibly someone living in the basement. The concerns about no staffing at one of the group homes, and the fact that residents had actually moved from one of the group homes into another, and Ms. Atkins seemed to be unaware of that happening, even though they had reported they moved several weeks prior to that time.
And who told you that they moved?
The residents themselves had said that they had moved over.
Who is this KR?
That was a resident that was living at one of the group homes. He identified himself as a resident when we arrived at the home. However, at a prior survey, he was presented to me as a potential staff member. And when I reviewed his BCI report, I let Ms. Atkins know at that time that he could could not be a staff member because he had a prohibited offense.
So was there a concern?
There was a concern that he was possibly a staff member of that home, or that he would identify as a resident.
What about the third location? Were you able to enter that home?
No, we were never able to enter that home that day.
And why was that?
There was no one available to come open the facility.
Was anyone living there?
No. Those residents have moved from next door.
Let's turn to exhibit 9. Just want to go through these 2 findings of yours.
Okay.
What does the first one say? Is this similar to what was in the other notice?
Yes, this is similar to what was in the other notice, just that we were unable to reach the owner to come allow us access to the facility. And then the second one involves the fact that residents had moved and she did not seem to be aware.
Were you concerned that Ms. Atkins was not aware that
Yes.
residents had moved?
I was very concerned about that.
Why?
If you were staffing, if you were at the facility as a staff member working there, then you would know where your residents are currently living. So that gave me concern that there was no one working in the facility, maintaining their personal care needs and delivering medications and things like that.
And because you weren't able to enter this facility, is that why you didn't have a survey written for all your findings? That's correct. Do you believe that Faith Temple has demonstrated a pattern of non-compliance with some rules? Why do you say that?
At a prior survey, for renewal, it took a long time to get her into compliance with the new rules. And then when we returned just a few months later, we found similar non-compliance with the rules.
And as far as, looking at one location versus the other, license number 6-7794 versus 3-7661, was it a concern that not just one, but both of them had many findings?
Yes,
Why is that a concern?
it's a concern when there's a lot of findings at a facility in general, but it's concerning when there's multiple facilities and there's findings, a significant number of findings in both of them, so it becomes a systematic problem.
If we turn back to exhibit 3. Page 1. There's some circles here looking at background check information. Did you speak with Ms. Atkins as far as if she conducted BCI checks and why not?
We kind of touched on it during this particular full cause survey as to whether these background checks have been completed. She stated they had been. The first one that's circled where there's a date in it, that's actually indicating that the background check was expired. They have to be redone every 5 years, and this one was done in 2013. And the last one, there was no date because it wasn't in the file.
And what about to the left of that with the 3 circles?
That is a statement that each provider and staff member has to state that they have not been convicted of a prohibited offense, and if they are convicted of a prohibited offense, while they're employed, that they'll let the provider know within 2-week period.
And why is that important to have on file?
They need to have a statement attesting to that because they can't be working in a facility if they have prohibited offenses. It is a rule requirement.
I have no further questions.
Okay, Mr. Lavelle, do you have any comments?
I do, thank you. Morning.
Good morning.
And would you look at the documents which the Attorney General's office had provided and look at Exhibit 3? Now, you had indicated and identified that as a staff qualification and background investigation, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you also indicated upon questioning that these documents were prepared by somebody named Robert Huggins?
That's correct.
Okay. And if you look at the document, it indicates the survey was done on April 9th of last year. Is that right?
It would have been the 10th.
Okay. That was my question. It wasn't a 2-day event. This was just a mistake. Mr. Huggins, okay, fair enough. Was Mr. Huggins one of the people that was with you in Youngstown?
Yes.
How many individuals from from the department here were in Youngstown that day on the 10th of April?
There were 3 of us.
So when the 3 of you went to Youngstown that day, that morning, did you each go to a separate facility individually?
Initially, yes.
And when you went to the facility that you went to, who found Alfreda? Was it Huggins?
Yes.
Okay. So she was at one of the facilities when you 3 arrived, correct?
Correct.
And presumably then, are you 3 in communication with one another during this period of time?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that Alfreda was with Huggins?
I did not.
But you attempted to call her,
I did.
and yet she was with somebody else from your department at the time you tried to call her.
Correct.
But you found that to be in violation, the fact that she didn't take your call, despite the fact that she was with somebody from the mental health addiction services.
Correct.
Okay. Prior to April 10th of last year, had you been to all 3 of these facilities in the past?
I've been to 2 of them.
Which 2, by the way, are essentially the same structure? Which 2 are the same building? You described it as a duplex.
The 06, actually, look for my 067792 and 067794.
92 and 94 are Glenwood and Kiowa. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But yet, it's essentially a corner street with a duplex building.
Correct.
You've been to that facility before because it was the Kiowa side, and 94 was a new license.
That's correct.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
pardon, I interrupted you. It was my fault.
We opened that in January.
Of 19.
Yes.
And when we open a facility or grant a license, it's incumbent upon you to go there and check it out. Yes?
Yes. Initially.
So you went there in January of 19 to do a survey
I actually completed the survey in November
of 18. Okay. Excuse me, and at the same time then, because you're literally next door, did you do a survey or did you look at the other facility on Glenwood?
I did, because that was a renewal application, so that one was up for renewal, so I completed the renewal survey for that facility and then the initial for the other facility.
In November of 18.
Correct.
Now, presumably, both of those surveys, both of those licenses were granted or renewed at
Correct.
that point in time. So when you went there in April of 19, you went there on a for-cause survey because of the allegation of criminal conduct on behalf of Alfreda.
That is correct.
Do you is it your responsibility to investigate that criminal conduct? Do you have to go to the court or the police or talk to the witnesses associated?
No.
You check the docket on the website to see the status of her criminal case?
Did I ever check it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you check it in April when you went on the survey or subsequent? So are you aware of the resolution of that case?
I am.
You report that information, the resolution of her case, to your supervisors, or does it make a file somewhere?
My supervisor was made aware of the resolution, yes.
When you went to do the survey in April, Huggins went to the facility on Canfield Road, which you identify as, it's the oldest one, it's the 03, right?
That is correct.
Had you ever been there before?
Before that day, no, I had not.
Had you been there, did you go there that day?
Yes.
All right. You and another worker then went to the duplex, you going in one side, the other worker going in the other, is that right?
That was the plan.
Okay. And yet one of the sides was unavailable for entry,
That is
correct?
correct.
And there were no residents living there.
That is correct.
Did you speak to the residents who resided or who were at the other side of the duplex?
Yes.
And did they tell you that they have been on one side but moved to the other?
Yes.
Is that a result of the bed bugs?
That's what I later learned, yes.
Okay. How many residents were there?
Yes.
Okay, so the 3 residents moved, and both of these sides, by the way, had previously been approved, correct?
Correct.
So the 3 residents that you spoke to that day went from one side that had bed bugs to the other side which did not. Is that what happened?
Yes, but there were bed bugs in the other
On
facility.
both sides?
Yes.
So after your survey of the duplex, you and and I beg your pardon, what's the other woman's name that was with you at the duplex?
April Morris?
Thank you. Is Ms. Morris in the hearing room?
She's not.
Okay. So you and April Morris go to the duplex, and Mr. Huggins goes to the Canfield Road, which is literally less than a mile down the street, right?
That's correct.
And the idea is that you each would go to a facility to utilize the element of surprise, correct?
Sure.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Is that the logic of this? This is an unannounced visit to find out what's going on.
Correct.
Okay. So you each do your duty at the duplex, make the findings that you've memorialized here today. You communicate with Mr. Huggins, and then the two of you and Ms. Morris, go down to the Canfield Road.
No, Ms. Morris left and returned either to the office or home. I'm not sure where she went from there, but she left, and I went over to Canfield because I am the lead surveyor for
Okay.
this complaint. So it is on me to make sure that I have all the information.
And when you get there, then I assume you have some conference with Robert Huggins, and you have opportunity to speak to Alfreda Atkins.
Correct.
When you were there and you talked to Alfreda, since you're the lead surveyor, did you discuss with her the criminal case?
I did not have a lot of discussion with her involving the criminal case. I mean, it did come up. We did talk about it. I mostly walked through the facility and did the site and safety check while Mr. Huggins looked through files.
And I think, if you didn't say it, then someone else did. There were 5 residents at the other address, the Canfield Road address.
That's
All right.
correct, yes.
And the findings you made essentially speak for themselves, the pictures, the findings. As a result of your survey or incident to your survey, do you speak to the residents? Do you talk to them about what's going on here? How's the food? Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you being medicated? Things like that?
Yes.
Now, you indicated kind of briefly that you had had issues in the past or non-compliance with Faith Temple and Alfreda Atkins. Is that right?
That's correct.
And is that the survey that we're talking about from November of 18?
Yes.
So is it accurate then to state that the problems that existed in November 18 were addressed before we opened?
She was given a findings letter, as you saw in the file. I mean, the same kind of findings letter would have been issued in that renewal and initial application, and then she would have to come into compliance with all the findings at that time.
And as a result of the survey of April of 2019, well, strike that. How many surveys have you done across the state?
I conduct anywhere from 8 to 10 surveys a month.
Okay. So just in 19, you did 100, right?
Sounds about right.
Is smoking a big deal? Is it a big issue in your surveys?
Smoking in bedrooms is an issue.
Is it chronic? I mean, is it pretty widespread?
Yes.
You're dealing with people, we're dealing with people, she's dealing with people who are mentally ill, is that right?
That's correct.
So sometimes following instructions is not the top of their priority. Couple that with a nicotine addiction, I assume it would be a chronic issue.
It can be, yes.
Were any of the problems that you cited her for, and I'm keenly interested in the Canfield Road address, incurable? Were any of the issues that you cited her for at that particular facility problems that couldn't have been rectified within, say, 30 days?
I'll object to that because that is not relevant as far as the findings that are actually in the letter. If they're curable or not, that's not anywhere in the code.
Well, perhaps. My response is, I want to know the severity of, because if you look at her findings, there's some discretion. And what I mean by that is, there's an odor of urine, or it's not welcoming, which I guess in her world is maybe defined differently than in mine. I'm trying to make a determination as to how severe these issues were. Overruled, I'm going to go ahead and allow. Thank you.
The severity has more to do with the continued non-compliance of the same problem.
I'm sorry, Virginia.
The severity has to do with continued non-compliance. When you consistently go out and find the same problems over and over again, that means they're not being corrected and maintained. So while she can correct in the moment, she doesn't maintain it for the long term.
Fair enough. But I think what you indicated was that she did cure the issue from November and then it represented in April. Is that what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a pretty short period of time.
So, but to answer my question then, it's not the issues that you found, it's the fact that they represented so quickly in time.
Okay, fair statement.
Are you, well, strike that. Have you been out there since April of 2019?
Yes.
When were you there last?
September of 2019, we received another complaint that I had to go out and investigate.
So did you do a survey at that point?
I did it for, well, it was a complaint survey, so again, it's a focused, looking for specific information at that time.
And was it a for-cause survey?
It was considered a complaint survey because I had an actual complaint, complaint-based survey, so I had something to investigate.
Was it the Canfield Road, the 03-7661 facility?
Yes.
What was the complaint?
The complaint involved a resident not receiving his medication.
You know where the complaint, or the genesis of the complaint, where it came from?
generally don't reveal who makes the complaint
Okay.
at the time, but I honestly do not.
You don't have to. What was the result of your investigation?
There were findings. They were not issued because we were already in this process. The only reason I had gone out on this complaint was the resident safety and concerns for his well-being. But there were findings.
Findings of,
Non-compliance.
while you were there, did you compare the facility in September to the findings you made in April?
Not particularly. Ms. Atkins did point out some of the areas that had been addressed while I was there. But again, that wasn't really the focus of.
Okay. No other questions?
Good, thank you, Mr. Sarah, for your record.
Yes, if I could have a minute, please.
Sure. Tags on. Thanks. Mine is too. Shot on the way out here.
Sarah, if we could go to exhibit 9. Actually, sorry, let's start at exhibit 8. Is there a citation in this letter as far as Ms. Atkins' criminal charge?
No.
Okay, so when you went out there on April 10th, the reason for that was due to the concern of child endangerment, but as far as your duties on the survey, were you supposed to be looking into her criminal charge or inquiring?
No, that would be completely outside of our scope.
Okay. So only related to the background checks and as far as, having safety for the residents, that was your main concern?
That was our focus, yes.
And then looking at exhibit 9, there's no citation for her criminal charge in this either.
That's correct.
And what about exhibit 10?
No, that's not referenced in any of them.
Okay. And as far as going out, you went to which location yourself on April 10th?
I would have gone to Glenwood.
Okay. And you were calling Ms. Atkins. Why was it important for you to get a hold of someone?
We needed to have access to the facility and the records. And they always have to have someone available, either themselves or a designee needs to be available at all times to us. There was no way for me to know that Ms. Atkins was actually already engaged with Mr. Huggins at UK Canfield address. She could have been anywhere for all I knew. So even if she had answered the phone and said, hey, I'm with a surveyor at this address, and she could have identified another staff member to come down and allow us access to the facility.
Let's pull up the rules. I think it's in the front of your book there. Yeah. You go to 5122-30-21. That should be ordered. What does Section A state as far as having staff on the premises?
The provider shall have sufficient numbers and types of staff in the facility scheduled for appropriate periods of time during each 24-hour period to ensure that the room, board, personal care, and mental health service needs of each resident are met in a timely manner as appropriate to the licensure type of the facility and individual needs of each resident.
So was this a concern as far as you going to one and not seeing any staff member, the owner?
Yes, that was a big concern for me.
And if there's no one on the premises, if you look at Section A, number 6, a little bit further down, what does it state that is required?
In the event that no staff person is on the premises, the operator shall be responsible for assuring that and ensuring that each resident is capable of self-preservation and is knowledgeable about obtaining emergency assistance.
And at that time, would you have been able to know who the residents were? Be prepared of and able to obtain emergency assistance?
No.
You said that the reason for the 4-5 survey was to primarily check for the safety of the residents and look at the background checks of the staff. Why did you include issues beyond that as far as the cleanliness and the bathrooms, that type of thing? Why were those addressed?
Anytime we go out on a site, we want to make sure that we walk through the entire facility to ensure that the residents are safe and being well cared for. I always like to say, I can't unsee what I saw. So if I'm there and I see a problem, I'm going to address it. There are issues of safety with a lot of the problems that I cited.
As far as when you spoke to Ms. Atkins about the staffing and how that worked, what did she tell you? Did she tell you her hours, what they were? Or
Ms. Atkins told me, because I asked specifically who was the staff at the Kiawapa facility because there was no one there, and when would I expect to find staff there? She said, well, she would be there from 8 to 9 p.m. However, no one was there when we were there, and the residents didn't seem to think that she was the staff person there either.
And if she wasn't there, did she state if there were other staff present at that time?
No.
I think I have no further questions.
Yes. And it's not your agency's interpretation of the Ohio, the code, the OAC, that somebody has to be there at all times, is it? A staff member?
Not unless the residence needs requires 24-hour staffing.
Okay. And then that wasn't the case in any of the facilities that she had, that Alfred had?
I have no way to know that without having full access to resident files to see if they met the requirements of 24-hour staffing.
Okay, that's all, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Board Chiefs, thank you very much. It is 11:48. I don't know if we need to break for lunch or if we just want to go through.
Can we take 5-minute break and maybe we can talk to you? Am I doing that?
No, that's fine.
Are you good to go for another one?
Yeah, there is.
Do you want to do anything? Pizza?
No,
Okay, so we're good. Start right at about 5 minutes. Grab something to drink.
Where's the bathroom?
From the far wall.
So you have that guy on the plane, it's like, over far wall all the way down.
I'm on the 90%. If I didn't hear you, I figured they. We're thinking about 5 minutes break. And then you're.
I do not. I'm usually up.
Yeah, we're gonna put it in an address.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. Are you just taping for internal?
Yeah,
The department?
for our group.
Oh,
We have committee members not here that perhaps would like to review the proceedings. Well, actually, we're making a documentary and you're the star. How's that?
no,
Okay.
usually there's.
I think I'm the star.
Well, I think I just switch my mic.
Yeah, she's.
I'll sing this song.
I do the quilting.
I hear you.
Do they have a restroom on the floor?
Yes, there should be, but I can't tell you where it is.
Okay, I have some.
It's usually.
It's on the far end of the, if you go down to there, past the little shop there, it's on the far wall down there.
Thank you for calling about my phone. I was trying to call my phone, but they didn't answer. It wasn't my main phone, I didn't call it. Because I was
You're for federal government now?
No, my father.
It was social service, a lot of mediation, and you just live off familiar.
No, my father did. He worked for the Department of Labor.
I see. Okay, well,
I understand there's a couple of those up in that area.
oh, really? Yeah, I'm in the Cleveland area, that's where I live. Yeah. Youngstown,
Okay.
area.
I know the Youngstown area. I heard there was a guy by the name of Rizzo. I won't slow down, but I heard there's a guy by the name of Rizzo who did something with the country. I never.
No. So we're going with that.
No, you didn't have to go.
I don't know, I was just gonna ask you that, I was like, my bag. I'll go find myself. I'll go away. For some reason, I was set to 7. Yeah. I walked up there to the 9th floor, and I asked for room. And I said, oh, there's a couple of
How
houses.
old are you now? It's,
Yeah. And she just, she had one look, and I said, uh-oh.
I had a job for family services. I ran out to the airport, I parked, they gave me a space because they said there was no hearing. I said, I know there is, so I went upstairs, sat down in the room, there's two ladies over there looking at
I don't live over in the lake.
I said, are you here for the hearing?
Really not too bad.
I said, are you here for the study?
It's
I'll be right back. Okay, when do we leave? I'm coming out from the airport.
Oh, my gosh, I know. It doesn't happen, once in a while it
It'll
happens.
happen. Exactly.
Because I went through security twice.
But with the trainer badge? I never.
Well, I didn't try that, I didn't think so. I don't know. I just gave it back to them on the way out. And then
That's
my
right,
boss
because
picked
they-
me up and brought me over here.
They-
They asked me to go.
And I don't. It's worse.
It's my goodness. I haven't gone down there for so long.
Yeah.
Because you have to get sick or so early. Now it's before 7. That's a little too early for jobs.
Remember when I worked at the AG's office? They used to lock me downstairs. And I'd park in the garage and then I'd sit there and I'd knock on the door and the security recognized me. Sometimes it would be a while, but persistence paid off. But can you use the underground now to go over to Ripe anymore?
You can, but only employees.
Okay. So it's the swipe code.
Yeah. So I think they used to have the public able to use it.
Yeah, we did, yeah. I didn't know. Okay, I'm employees, state employees.
State employees.
And if you go way back, you used to be able to get from a parking garage at Ripe into the basement of the Supreme Court.
Yes, yes, I'm on that.
And then you can get from the basement of the
Yes.
Supreme Court over to the Department of Education.
Yes.
I found out the hard way to do that. And the door was locked by the time I got to education, and then I walked all the way back.
Alice, recorder, when you have the earphones, are you hearing what you're typing? Is that what
Yes.
you're-
I
Okay.
didn't put on it in the bigger room.
Okay. Well, no, you got it.
I'm listening to the radio.
CNN around
Alright, you ready to go?
Ready?
Okay, we are back on the record. The state can call its next witness.
The state has no further witnesses, so at this time, if I could enter my exhibits. as
Okay.
evidence.
And are you moving into all exhibits?
Yes, 1 through 15, and there is some redactions as far as the addresses of residents and resident names, so I have a confidential key in the exhibit book as well. But yes, 1 through 15 with the redactions.
Mr. Lavelle, do you have a response?
No, I have no objection to that.
Okay.
Introduce the entire book.
Hearing no objection, exhibits 1 through 15 shall be admitted. And you resident?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lavelle, did you want to make an opening statement?
No, I'll waive that, but I will call if it's convenient. I would like to have Ms. Atkins testify.
Absolutely. Atkins, if you come step up here, please.
Ms. Atkins, raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. And you'll have to repeat it.
You okay? Nervous?
Nope.
All right, loud and clear, as she indicated. Loud and clear. Keep your voice up. State your full name.
My name is Alfreda Atkins.
And Alfreda Atkins, where do you live?
351 Merlin Place in Portland, Ohio.
What's the name of the street?
Merlin, Marlyn Place.
And that's Portland, Ohio, 44512.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, I'm gonna cut to the chase. Let's talk about the, excuse me, the facility that you operated on Canfield Road. What's the street address of that facility?
862 Canfield Road. And the zip is 44511.
How long have you operated that facility?
For about maybe 3.5 years.
And do you own that building, that house?
No, I don't.
You rent it?
I lease it.
Okay. And you lease it with the intention and the purpose of operating a group home?
Well, it was an adult care facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
So originally, when you took possession of that premises, it was an adult care facility?
Facility, yes.
Okay. And then what? How did you come to have your relationship with the, mental health addiction services?
You mean what made me want to do a group home, or?
Let's start with that. What made you want to do a group home, and when did that happen?
It happened in 1987 when I came from Oklahoma. I housed homeless people, and then I seen the need for housing mental people.
All right, well, fast forward to the facility on Canfield Road. When you leased that facility, you said you intended to operate a
Adult care facility.
All right. So then did you make arrangements with the state of Ohio for licensing for that purpose?
Yes, I filled out an application and went on forward with it.
And you had a license with the state of Ohio for that purpose in the past at a different facility?
Well, I started out at 21 Indiana Avenue in Youngstown, Ohio. But we couldn't get our occupancy permit, so I relocated over to the 862 Canfield Road.
And that was, you said, 3.5 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. So at that point in time, then you sought and received permission from the state of Ohio to operate your facility?
Yes.
And as a result of that, you had a survey done at some point when you got your license, an inspection?
Yeah, I had a survey done. Yes.
Okay, and that's by the state?
By the state.
Did you have your facility inspected by any other governmental agency?
The state do their inspection and also the city. You have to get the city license too.
The city of Youngstown?
The city of Youngstown.
And you had these licenses in place prior to commencing service, to having residents?
Yes.
So what possessed you then at that point that you decided you were going to open up a separate facility, the duplex on Hiawatha and Glenwood?
I really kind of was talked into it by my investor. He had property there. He wanted something done with it. So he asked me, would I go open up, adult care homes in the building. So I just told him, yes. Well, I really wanted the 3520 Glenwood. I didn't want to open up the Kawasa, so I never really opened that one up. I mean, I got it licensed through the city, the state, and also got my zoning permit, but I never opened it.
Never took residence there for
No, because of the bed bugs.
So, what did you say? Your answer.
because of the bed bugs.
Because of the bed bugs.
Okay.
That's Oklahoma talk. All right, so the facility, the Hiawatha side of the duplex was never officially open for residents.
No, it was a Kevin Russo was living there. He actually was living there and renting.
I'm sorry, a person named Calvin
Kevin,
Russo? Okay.
Yeah, but he told them that he was a resident. But he was a resident, but he wasn't a resident of the group home.
Okay. So you did in fact, though, utilize the other side of the facility for the service of operating the group home?
Yeah, 3520 Glenwood Avenue.
How many residents did you have at the Glenwood Avenue side of the facility?
It was, I believe, 2 at that time.
When did you close that Glenwood facility, or when did you stop putting residents in there?
I closed at it, I think a little bit before April, because I fired the person that was working for me. So I had to close it down, and my survey worker suggested that I take those 2 people over to the other house on Glenwood, on 862 Canfield Road. So I moved them over there because the veterans, I lost my contract with them and they moved their peoples out. So I only had like maybe 1 person at that time. So I moved those 2 over there.
Are you saying this occurred prior to the April 10th survey?
Yeah, a little bit before. It kind of was, the whole process was going on at the same time. Like
You
they
said-
were moving the veterans out, and I was moving them down. The veterans was getting their stuff all packed, and during that time, they came in for the survey.
All right.
So it's,
When you say the survey person recommended that you take the residents from Glenwood to Canfield Road,
yes,
are you talking about the survey person from mental health who
Yes.
testified here today?
yes.
And if you could wait until it's the questions.
Okay.
So, ma'am, are you saying that the the entire duplex was off limits to residents as of, say, the end of April of last year? There was no more facility there that you operated?
No, there was no one there.
Okay, so you then operated and continued to operate the one remaining facility?
The 862, yeah, I took that one over myself.
Okay. The 862 is Canfield Road, correct?
Yes.
How many residents are there?
At that time,
No, now.
now it's 5. It's 5 residents.
How many were there back in April and April 10th when you had the survey completed?
I believe it was like 3 or maybe 2. I can't really remember.
So were you at that residence at 862 Canfield Road on the morning of April 10th when the representatives from the state came out?
Yes.
And is it accurate, as was testified to, that a gentleman came there first?
Yeah, he came there.
All right. So you're having a discussion with this fellow about you knew what a survey was at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you knew at that point you were being subjected to a survey?
Yes.
Did you invite the people from the state of Ohio into the facility?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
All right. So there was no issue with them coming in and doing their inspection?
No.
Did you have any discussion with those people from the state on that particular day?
Yes.
Okay. Did they ask you for the records associated with staff?
Yes, they did.
You're not really taking any issue with their findings as it relates to that, are you?
Well,
You were delinquent in keeping posted your staff and what they had indicated,
well, I showed it to them.
okay? What did you show them?
I showed them our background checks. I showed them, what's that, the fire, drill. I showed them what they was asking me for. I showed it to them.
Okay. What about the condition of the facility itself?
When I got there, prior to this, survey, the person that I had managing, I didn't like their job, so I had fired them. That's why I came in.
Tell them who it is.
With the name Chester Burns.
Tell them who that is.
That's my son.
Whom you fired.
Huh?
That you fired your son for
I
not taking
fired
care
my
of it.
son because he wasn't doing the place the way I wanted it done.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so, when I done that, by doing that time, the survey lady came in, and everything was kind of messed up, because I was trying to get, the papers in order, because I had took over new management. So I had to come in there and get the papers right, get everything together, put my medicine lists, and, just get everything the way the state required for it to be.
Right.
And then during that time, the survey worker walked in, and I hadn't made it upstairs yet because I was gonna go up there and check the rooms and clean, like you're supposed to do the job.
All right, so again, you're not taking issue with the condition of the premises. You agree?
No, because it was, when my son was managing it, he wasn't doing a good job. That's my purpose
Right.
of taking it over to run it myself.
But you also agree that it's your responsibility to manage your son. We didn't manage the facility.
Yeah, yes,
So I guess the question I have is, did you fix that problem?
yes.
What did you do?
I went in there and managed it myself, got the records right. Contractor came in, the owner sent a contractor in to do all the, drywall and the peeling paint and everything that was on the list that they gave me.
When did they give you that list?
I can't quite remember when I got it. It was, the first letter came out, was certified. I didn't get that, so I didn't get it till late, like maybe 2 months later. And I can't remember the date.
All right, so you closed the 2 facilities. One never opened, one you closed.
Yes,
The third facility, which has 5 residents, you essentially indicated that you're more of a hands-on, right? You're there yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm there myself.
Who cooks?
I cook.
Who cleans?
I clean.
And you have 5 residents.
I have 5 residents. I cook, I clean, and one of my other sons is there, Michael Atkins. They, got records of him. And he helps me, like if I have to go to the store or take one of the guys to their appointment or something like that, then he sits in.
Ma'am, have you had any communication with anybody from the state since September? Other than in the course of this proceeding?
No, not at the 862.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay, thank you. Is there any cross-examination?
Yes, there is. Hello, Alfreda. You mentioned that you received the location for Glenwood and Kiwaka after opening Canfield, correct?
Wait, say that again.
Canfield had been opened first, and then later on you had Glenwood and Kiwaka residents that also opened?
Yes.
Okay, and you applied for both of those locations to have license certifications through mental health?
For all the locations?
Yes.
Yes.
So, I think you had mentioned that Kiwaka had no residents in it. Why did you apply for licensure then?
Because when I got the building and I opened it, I didn't see no bed bugs in there. But then when it opened, and then I started, checking and looking, and just checking around, I seen some bed bugs on the one bed, and I thought maybe the guy that was living there bought them in. But anyway, I just never opened that up because I wasn't gonna put nobody in there with bed bugs in there.
So, you're saying that on April 10th, when the surveyors came to each facility, when they went into Kiwaka, there were no residents in that?
Well, see, I don't know because I wasn't there. I was at 862. So I don't know what happened at the Kawasa. I was not there.
Who was the staff person there at the time?
It was no staff there. It wasn't open.
So you are saying you don't know anyone that was at Kiwaka?
No, it was a resident there. Remember I said Calvin Russo? He was there, but he wasn't a resident of the group home.
Let's turn to State's Exhibit 4, if you can. 4 in your book.
Oh.
Yes, sir. You were right before. Before is the next one. That's the next one. Yeah. So the surveyor, you heard her speak about writing this information. These are the residents that she got names for when she was out on the survey. I know it's really hard to read with all the redactions of resident names, but are you saying that this is wrong, that there weren't these many residents at the time?
Wait, I don't see any residents on here.
Yeah, they were all redacted, their names. But as far as the number.
Oh, I see. No, it was no residents there, no. There's supposed to be no residents there.
So who else would have been at, as far as Kiwaka, which is the last 4 on this list, who else would have been there?
Do you have a resident key, maybe, that you can show,
we have
work off of?
We have a key with 2 names, but
Okay.
there weren't, we didn't have all the names.
Okay.
Okay, it was Calvin Russo there, and he always had the other guys at the group home come and sit over with him, so they could have been there when she did the survey. It would have been, let me see, always I catch over there sitting with him was Andy, Melvin White, And that's not the only two that I would know. They would go over there and say they kicking it or whatever.
So you mentioned that Canfield was the one location that you wanted to keep open?
Yes, I would like to keep Canfield open.
And what would you do, you said, so your testimony is that there were no residents at either Glenwood or Kikiwaka?
No, I closed those down, no.
Okay. What happened to the residents that were living there?
I think it was two at the 3520 Glenwood. I moved them to 862.
And what was the process to transfer them? What did you do?
I informed their case managers, and told them what was going on. And then I did a written statement for the residents agreeing to go there, giving them the right whether to come there or go to another group home.
Did you speak with the residents if they wanted to move or not?
Yes.
Okay. And were they given the option to move or not move?
Yes.
And what did they all wanted to move?
Yes.
Did you create a resident agreement for the new location when you moved them?
Yes.
Okay. And that wasn't present at the facility when mental health did the survey in April?
Yeah, it was there.
How come it wasn't something that they could?
I was nervous that day. I was nervous, and one survey was asking me stuff, another survey was asking me stuff, and it was only one meeting.
So who are your staff right now?
It's myself and Michael Atkins. And Chester Burns, I did put him as like a call person only. Like a sit-in person. So it's like there's three of us.
Let's turn to Exhibit 3, so the one you were on previously. So are these three the three staff then that you just mentioned?
Yeah.
And as far as the circles that you see, where it looks like the surveyors weren't able to find that information, why couldn't they receive that information when they were out there?
I don't have glasses. I can't see what the one is. Can you read?
Yeah. So for the three circles above it, the site or the requirement is to, prior to hiring, you attest to a non-conviction of prohibited offenses and agreement to notify if charged or convicted while employed. So they would have had to sign something saying that they had no convictions of prohibited offenses.
Okay, yeah, she did mention that to me, and I think I have it now. I didn't have it then because when they changed all the rules and regulations, I hadn't really just sit down, and studied them yet, because they did some changes. And when I did my adult care facility at that time, we didn't have to have that. So that was something that I needed to add.
What about the next circles next to it? It says BCI requested prior to hire in every 5 years. And it looks like one was expired and then one was missing for Michael Atkins.
He had that. Michael had it, but I don't think we had it there because he was working with me with foster care and you have to have a background check. So Michael had that. And I think I emailed it to her.
You said that the statement that staff people have to sign saying that they were not convicted of a prohibited offense, you said that was new? A new rule?
I think it was still, I think it was.
You're not.
I mean, I'm not for sure, but I think they added that, because I don't remember having to have it, because I've been licensed all of this time, and they never asked for that.
When you renew for licensure every 2 years, don't you sign that you've read all the laws and rules?
Yes. Well, no, I don't remember signing it. Can I ask her to repeat that again? Can you repeat that again?
On the application for renewal every 2 years, that you turn into mental health addiction services for renewal, when you go through the application, aren't there different things that you read and sign afterward, as far as, you know, I have read the rules, I'm aware of all the regulations that go into maintaining a facility. Aren't there certain things you sign off on?
I don't remember signing anything like that. I mean, I put in the application, but they didn't renew it, so I didn't, usually the survey kind of help you and request certain papers from you, and I never was requested that paper.
Even if you didn't sign something like that in the application, don't you think it's important to know the laws and rules that keep you in compliance with keeping and maintaining the facility?
Yeah, and I thought maybe the background check covered all of that. So I didn't know, that you just do that added paper. Because we do the background check, and then I go in and look and do all of the other checks where, like, if they have any sex offenders and, and all of that. We have to do that. Is that the paper that you're talking about? Or we have to go through each one of them?
I'm just talking broadly now about all
Okay.
the rules that you should be familiar with when you are a provider.
Do I have a few minutes?
Sure, go ahead.
Ms. Atkins, as far as the residents that you currently have and with who you had as residents in April, do you receive any money for those residents?
Yes.
Where do you get that money from?
It comes from the Mahoney County paycheck.
Sorry, what was it?
The Mahoney County paycheck pay for their rent. Mahoney County paycheck.
I'm sorry.
Mahoney County paycheck.
Could you spell that for us, please?
I believe you spell it P-A-Y-E-E.
Thank you.
Paycheck.
And how much was that per resident, do you know?
500 for each client.
And you said you had only 2 or 3 residents at Campfield in April when those forecast survey happened.
I believe it was about 2 or 3. It was 5, but the veterans moved their people out. I think they moved like maybe four of them out. So I only had 1 at that time.
Okay, and you've received more since then?
What was that?
You have more residents since then?
Well, I moved the ones from Glenwood there, which was 2 more. Yeah, so I have 5.
And what happened to the veterans? Why did they leave up?
Because of all of the stuff, the news and all of the stuff that was running on the grid.
Do you know when they moved up?
What was that?
Do you recall when they moved up?
No, I can't recall.
Would it have
It
been,
would have been in April. It was in April.
was 2019?
Yes.
You don't recall though if it was before or after this survey?
I believe it was before that survey.
So when you were at Campfield that day on April 10th, you said that you were flustered because you were talking to a lot of people and as far as the medication being out, what was the reason for that? Why weren't they blocked?
That medication belonged to Kevin Russo. That's the one that was living at the Kawasa. He takes his own medication. So he had that medication in that room, where he was at. So that wasn't a real place.
Okay. Why was there a smoking policy in Kiwaka?
It wasn't so much of a smoking policy. It's just that it was recommended to me before by the state that I told them the problem that I was having with the guys keep smoking in their room. And they suggested that why don't I go ahead and give them a smoke break. So I told them anytime y'all want a cigarette, ask them for the cigarette and I supervise them. That way to make sure that they smoke it and not take it up to their room.
And who are you speaking of at Kiwaka that would be following that policy?
It wasn't there, because that never opened. That was at 862 Canfield Road, that paper.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the finding as far as medication was actually for the camp location as well. Correct?
I didn't see no picture of that one. The picture that I seen was for the Kawasa house, where the medicine was out. And if they seen any other medicine out, on the first floor, residents don't go on the first floor. Those two rooms on the first floor belongs to my sons who was living in those rooms. No resident. So I don't know where the medicine was at. There, because we keep it locked.
If you turn to Exhibit 5. Page 9. So you can look through 9 through 11. Do you know whose medications these were?
I have a question. Is that the same room right here on Exhibit 5? Is that the same picture of medicine? If so, that's my son's girlfriend's medication. Because if you notice, you see the girl's deodorant in the back.
I'm not sure where it's, if it's the same picture. Was that girlfriend living there?
Yeah, she was staying there with him because it's an apartment downstairs.
Have you done a background check on the girlfriend?
No, because they not, she didn't stay that long. She stayed, but when I fired them, they both left together. But no, I didn't do a background check on her.
I remember
I didn't do a background check because where they was living at, they had no contacts with the residents. The residence is on the second floor.
So you're saying they wouldn't have seen the residents at all?
No,
How is that possible?
because they're on the first floor, residents on the second floor.
Do they both have exits from the
No.
building? Both
Well,
floors?
it's possible they could have seen each other or something, but, I mean, they really didn't have no contact with each other.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Is there any redirect?
No,
Okay.
nor do I have anything else to present.
You will rest your case then?
Yes.
All right. Do either of you need a couple extra minutes before closing statements?
Maybe like 2 minutes.
Is that all right?
Here with me, I was gonna wait. You wanna have a close?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's take a 5-minute break.
Aye, aye. Come on back.
You're done. Thank you.
Information,
I'm not going to change my mind.
please. I was looking for request for hearing like this. Okay.
Who's here? Toodle still in town?
Yeah, two recently. He moved his office from the building he was in and bought a house. And then he put his head office in front of his house.
Is it downtown there? Is it?
Yeah, it is right on the other side of the highway, actually. It's in a,
What's he doing? What kind of work?
he's still doing workers' comp. Whatever else he's
I thought Debbie once in a while, maybe a couple times a year.
doing. Okay. She's in the other area.
Yeah.
I just found out yesterday, it looks like they're going to move
Oh, is that right?
leases up and Attorney General used apparently doesn't like the lease terms.
So who else is that? Anybody else?
So there's a couple of folks who are a couple years behind us that it's being, he was down here at Campbell. Every once in a while, runs into somebody over in the court and says that they were hanging grass. Apparently, a few.
Guess we'll have some downtime land in our laps.
I was gonna say, don't need to come back tomorrow. That's, that'll help. Yeah, giving a public briefing on Monday, that kind of stuck up.
Yep, something.
I get a public briefing on Monday. Damn, I can't think of it. I don't have it, I get my calendar, it's like, no big deal, I got the extra news for some reason. And then I'm looking into it, I said, wait a second, I've got to investigate it. With the council and social workers.
What's it have you run through the car?
So, figured I'd spend the whole weekend. We can be a little bit easier.
That's good.
It's,
You never know, you have to be so flexible.
and be ready to jump whatever. What I'll end up doing is
Always a long ride.
my daughter was sick one day too. So she's got a lot of homework to do. Yeah, probably. She just had the fever and the tiredness, weakness.
My daughter just texted me, said she's,
Same thing.
yeah, she's a word, she's volunteer.
And then we, my daughter had tryouts for the softball team there in middle school. Saturday school on Monday until we can't get to long tryout. So that's an hour she called me. I said, I'm working home. So, but she's got plenty of work to do. So I figure what I'll do is I'll take her to the library, force her to do her work, I'll do my work. My son will probably run, play on the computer, because he's got a playing time, play on the games.
Right.
My wife would have never been silent.
Oh, everybody wants. What is that?
I want the kids to be allowed, that's what comes down to it. I want the kids to be allowed.
Yeah.
She'll look in the car about the time, just say, just like 10 minutes.
Is she with them more now? Okay, that's fine.
She's like, no, I have to tell us another funny story. I'm like, I don't know if I can even one of these stories. We can't even one. So, we'll see what we do. Now, she was fine on Friday.
Yeah.
Just this last Friday. Saturday morning, I'm gonna take my son out. She said, oh, I want to stay home, but that's fine. You make the rooms later, she's still alive. I was like, that's not. That is not good. But it took her a good 3 days to wipe out, bring the temperature down low enough.
I think, my friend just texted me, we were getting friends together to do dinner tonight. And she had to cancel because her son went to urgent care and so he's doing sick in the flu, so she didn't want us done in the house. Now, okay, so, and then Amy texted me, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all that flies.
It's funny you say that, because I went out to eat lunch with a friend of mine on Tuesday, and I went chase tea. I said, what's wrong with you? And he said, I'm just getting over a cold, I don't want to pass it on. I said, all right, I get that.
Right. I get very nervous because my mom lives with me, she's 88, and she's had pneumonia twice, and I'm like, oh, I'm out, she stays put pretty much, we don't eat out, we don't wash food in the house, all of the food. And we try to be careful in the winter, but I'm out, so I get a little nervous, but.
When I was at the racing,
Yes, they're having one today.
yeah, I know.
My girlfriend was over there.
I got 2 or 3 setups here I can go to, and I'm hoping they go. But the same zone, I was always concerned about getting sick, didn't want to get sick. And if you came into his office and you were sick, he had a pack of rubber gloves on the side. And if you were to touch any documents or touch anything in his office, you'd get sick.
Yes, I know, I never was like that, but I'm, with her with me, I have to, I always wash and all that stuff, but I've never washed my vegetables and food as much as I do now. Just cut an orange or something, now I'm washing
Yeah, I
it.
think candy stuff,
Yeah, and I'm
which is so much more expensive.
we have been trying to do that every once in a while.
That's what my wife found. And I'm not allowed to do grocery shopping because I'm the guy who goes up and down the aisle.
It's something.
I've never seen that. Oh, yeah, that's $50 by the time I walk out.
Yeah.
But the Amazon Prime, we've got free delivery of Whole Foods. And she said, yeah, the time Whole Foods is cheaper than Giant.
Wow.
So once a
I know,
month.
it's not really Kroger, and it's a lot of, it's like $150.
That's what she's, I mean, I know her. She's
I got it.
jam it.
It is amazing. But I thought they must make less money because like you said, the impulse buying is down. So I think the stores make less money with delivering groceries because there's just so much. I'll come in for tomatoes and I'll bring one grocery bag and let me eat it.
And I'll get at least a
And
little bar.
then I have to have them put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get 3 times a year.
I guess the idea of Amazon and Whole Foods. But they figure that delivery customers would take it away.
They keep chipping off.
I would think it cuts down on an awful lot of us.
It might not be as high of a profit margin as some Amazon. So, you're more concerned with getting customer information so that you can sell it to somebody else. That's every time you're reading through this.
My stepdaughter, she lives in Chicago, and she's been doing that forever. She's really the breadwinner in the house.
She's a city or she's in summer?
She's in summer. And, she's had her grocery, she hasn't used the grocery store. Unless they go get some food or something, or specific cut needs, they'll pick that up.
I had a cousin who lived downtown. And she had to do her grocery shopping. Yeah, the bus dropped her off at the place where she could get some food and walk to her apartment.
I put Vaseline on it.
Now, that's a place where they shine.
Yeah.
City or just where it's touched.
She's had it before I heard of it, before I got it widespread. She does everything. She has someone come pick up this little dog's food. She does
She's got to check
everything. She, yes, to free her up. And she has the boys now. I will say, Mom, you may order this or that, and they'll have Subway sandwiches. From Welcome, the boys are just ordering what they want. It's so funny. She said, what, in the summer, they got, and in the summer, they have ice cream sundaes.
I'm trying.
I'm like, are you kidding?
It's
My kids haven't figured it out. But my wife keeps her grocery list on Alexa. And I just throw stuff on there.
Yeah.
We just-
Yeah, I mean, my kids are adjusting.
It's a good idea before I go more technology. And if my son answers, I think we should. And I think that yeah, I'm pretty sure Mom said we need to.
I haven't done it, but it's a great idea, because like, even if my mom was by herself, she could help. I mean, it's fantastic. So they won't.
Drop it outside. Although she's from my uncle. So we just worked on great makers. We had
Yeah.
yeah.
Right under the stall.
It's in 20 minutes. West, it's more like an hour. Did you get? See, I refuse to do this. It's just, I always know how.
That's my
I had a client call me from.
They don't go up to that part. Oh, yeah. No, they wanted a reaction.
So we went out there, he had his company driver with me at the airport, then his company. I had said for years I was.
I was nervous to get
I still think there should be some sort of license.
I was nervous, but you know, when I flew into Chicago, and her new house is pretty far from here.
What view, what bar?
I took a round from the airport. Just yeah, so that's she said, oh, she'll be down here. I'm looking at the fair.
The other tree.
So I was texting them, but it's Boston to my son at his house. John, this is really good. And,
it's got like sidewalk off cattywampus and everything, and it's like, oh, that's just so much work that they've done all of the new sidewalk.
homework class.
I'm working on, trying to get the inside fixed right now.
So then when I paid the caddy, and then when I was coming back, they called me an Uber, John said, I'm calling you Uber, and it was happening. So. Yeah.
Okay, here's homework.
It was quite fun for me.
Right now.
So, now whether he went the right way,
That's the other thing I was wondering about. Okay, ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, we are back on the record. It's 12:53, ready for the closing statement from the state.
Over the course of the few hours that we've been here, I've shown by preponderance of the evidence that Faith Temple has demonstrated a pattern of noncompliance with mental health and addiction services rules, which makes the revocation of its 3 facility certifications essential. Essential. There's been some talk about compliance issues that were fixed, corrected prior to the score cause survey, as mentioned in the notice letters, but this is irrelevant. Ohio Administrative Code 5122-30-05B6 provides that the director may refuse to renew or revoke a license, regardless of whether some of all of the deficiencies that prompted the proceedings have been corrected at the time of the hearing. We're only dealing with what is in the notice findings as they were at the time of the for-cause survey. And the circumstances of that April 10th, 2019 survey highlight Faith Temple's serious noncompliance. First, this was a for-cause survey, which means that there was a specific serious concern for conducting the survey. Sarah Malik testified that reviewers went out due to Ms. Atkins being charged with child endangering the day prior. When Sarah Malik and the other surveyors arrived, they couldn't get into one of the homes, and Ms. Atkins was not present at 2 of the locations. And she also did not respond to repeated attempts to call her and contact her. When Ms. Atkins was asked why residents had moved homes, she was not even aware that it had happened, despite being one of the only 2 staff members for Faith Temple. Conditions of the home were also alarming. As the evidence shows, there were live bed bugs, dirty bathrooms and bedrooms, cigarette butts on the ground, someone living in the basement, etc. Faith Temple has demonstrated that they cannot maintain their facilities and are repeatedly in noncompliance among all 3 of these facilities. And some of the explanations that Ms. Atkins gave today were unfounded. The justifications for requirements were not in the rule that she said was untrue, such as the BCI requirement that has been in the rules since Faith Temple has been open, such as the signed attestations when she signs to renew her application as well. Those rules would have been explicit in there. Also, the fact that a resident was presented as a household member. She mentioned Kevin Rousseau, who was presented as a resident at the time of the survey. Even as a household member, he is not allowed to reside in a mental health facility without a background check. And if she did have a background check on him, it would have shown a disqualifying offense. This compromises the resident's safety even further. For some of those reasons and everything in the evidence today, I would recommend that the hearing examiner recommends to the Director of Mental Health and Addiction Services that you revoke the certification for residential care facility license numbers 3-7661, 6-7792, and 6-7794. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lavelle, did you have a closing?
I wasn't going to do a closing, but I feel compelled at this point. The testimony that was presented here today indicates that there were no residents at the duplex back on April 10th. That there was someone living there as a resident, small off, not a resident of the facility. The Russo that was spoken of, according to Ms. Atkins, had nothing to do with the group home. He was not passed off as a staff member. He was not a resident. He was not somebody for whom she was receiving funds, any governmental funds. She indicated both of those facilities had been emptied prior to the survey. So really the issue before this board, before this examiner, is the particular facility on Canfield Road. Now, we're upset with her because she is meeting with a surveyor on Canfield Road. Another surveyor down the street's calling her and she's not answering the phone. That somehow made it into the letter, her certification, her certified letter regarding the revocation. Most of the issues addressed were cosmetic in nature. Some of the issues were more significant, as to do with the background checks and the logs associated therewith. I can't imagine that a mental health resident smoking in his room isn't just rampant throughout the state of Ohio. And I think that was essentially testified to by the state's witnesses. So the issue truly for you to consider is whether or not Alfreda Atkins is capable of maintaining one particular residence. That's all she desires. As I said, the issues presented, and I'm sure you're going to want some time to review the exhibits, the issues presented are mostly cosmetic. Some of the issues, as it relates to the log keeping, the bookkeeping, things like that, they are more significant and they do deserve some additional attention by Ms. Atkins. And I indicated off the record, and I'll indicate on it, that my hat to the Attorney General's office for having a well-organized exhibit list and a well-planned presentation here today. But truly, this comes down to the issue going forward as to whether or not Alfreda Atkins deserves to have her license revoked for the one facility that remains. Suggesting that somebody's living in the basement, somebody, again, there's no credible evidence to that effect. We're talking about cosmetic, we're talking about record keeping. That's exactly what we're talking about. So there was some allegation now that it was a for cause, that somehow justifies. There was no indication that the criminal charges were legitimate. In fact, the state's witness said it's not her job to find out about the status of the criminal charges. Nothing's been presented to you today about that. She's able to maintain residency. None of the residents complained that they were in harm's way. I asked the witness if she spoke to the residents, if they ate, if they're well fed, if they're happy and healthy. They never complained about that. So again, I appreciate Alfreda Atkins conceding the issues that presents as far as the house, the cleanliness, those issues apparently have been rectified by her admission. So that's the issue I think presented for your review. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. We are now adjourned. It is 1 o'clock.